I wanted to tonight talk about, I guess, the best exercise, and I don't know why or how this actually became a thing as well. Is the best exercise to do, X, Y, and Z, and I think we as a society have got drifting away from things being multifaceted and multidimensional, and trying to make things too a-dimensional to help us fix a problem. Say, for example, if we're sick or something like that, we'll just take some cough drops or something like that. But really, there's really a lot more going on. And if we look at the human body, the body is made up of multiple systems, and they're very intertwined with one another, and they rely on each other and communicate with each other in order to function really well. If one system drops down in terms of function, that means the other systems have to go on overdrive to overcompensate for it, and that obviously begins the breakdown of our body, or the person's body that we're talking about. But coming back to the best exercise and how it really doesn't exist, I think it's really just playing on our psychology at the end of the day, and it's more like a salesy thing, trying to sell on people's insecurities at the end of the day. So when it comes to that society's insecurities, we've been, I guess, we've been exposed to more of this, this beauty side or this fitness side of society. We have to look a certain way, dress a certain way, feel a certain way, drink certain things in order to look a certain way. And we know from social media, that's capturing that person in that best moment, literally in their best moment. But really, it's causing a lot more problems later on down the track. And unfortunately, a lot of people get drawn into this, that they have to look, feel, and function a certain way based on the people that they follow or the people they really look up to. And this is where we need to kind of shift the thinking a little bit more and make it not so a-dimensional, and make it multi-dimensional in terms of how do we help people if they're looking to look a certain way. Okay, now we can start to ask more questions. What does the best exercise really mean? Basically, this is more of a subjective point of view. It basically means to me a quick solution. And it also tells me that person doesn't want to put much effort into or think about it too much or put much effort into attaining their goals. So whether it's to lose 10 kilos or whether it is, to put on a bunch of muscle mass, that they're trying to do it with the least amount of energy and the least amount of thought. And the beauty of the way the human body works, it requires a shitload of energy and a shitload of thought and consistency and time in order to attain what we want. And the best exercise is also very generic in nature. So what I mean is, all these running programs that have been put out on the internet, they're great starting points, but usually these programs are actually created for, someone who's got no injuries, maybe have some level of history of playing sport when they were growing up, and then they're looking just to get back into some level of fitness. But really, we need to ask a lot more questions in order to understand whether or not this is going to be the best modality for them. A, is it going to be enjoyable? B, is it going to do more damage than good? These are things we need to understand when we prescribe certain exercises, and we'll talk about that in a case study that I've got set up for us later on. But when it comes to individual considerations, we've got to consider the age, like I said before, the training age and history, the injuries and conditions, and this is where an assessment is actually really important. So anyone who's just who says oh, what's the best exercise to, run 5Ks? And usually 9 times out of 10, we'll just say just run more, just run a little bit more. But it's usually the nuance within the information that we provide them is actually really critical for them to A, be able to achieve that goal, but B, to be able to do it safely at the same time. So this is the other consideration we need to make sure that we have is in the assessment, how much running have they done in the past? What have they done in the last 6 months when it's come to running? But also the assessment allows us to see potentially whether or not this person should be even running in the first place. So we need to look at how they actually move first. What do they respond well to? We give them a couple of exercises to try out. They're very low level intensity. Do they respond well to it? If they respond well, great, we're going to include them. If they don't respond well, we might need to go a step back before we go 3 steps forward later on down the track. What are their goals? When it comes to saying what's the best exercise for X, Y, and Z, you also take the goals into consideration. Religious beliefs and food restrictions always needs to be something that needs to be considered depending on who we're talking to. Medication is always important, especially for populations that have some sort of condition that we need to consider. But also previous attempts to achieve their goals as well. So are they exercise consideration? So when we go into the exercise specific part, so that exercise slice of the pie, we need to look at the FIT principles. So the FIT principles is frequency, intensity, type, time, and type. So they actually relate to all the other questions previously. So like I said before, it's multifaceted. Now, I want to give you a bit more of an example and looking specifically at weight loss, because it seems it's going to be the next big thing in the next 6 months with all the COVID business. Basically, I put up, it's just a typical 25-year-old wanting to lose weight. She's got maybe she's got a bit of carpal tunnel on her wrist, no exercise history, works in admin, so she's on a butt all day, eats takeaway quite regularly, and enjoys a social drink on the weekend. So now on the weekend, she's probably having a social drink over Zoom at the moment, just to kind of get that social aspect going. So this here, I guess you could call it slices of a pie to complete the whole picture of all the factors influencing weight loss. You can actually see the relationships of all these varying factors. And you can see the massive interplay of factors here.